My name is Emily, and I'm 34 years old. I live with my husband, James, who is 2 years older than me. We've been trying to have children for years, but it hasn't happened. According to the doctor, both of us have minor issues that make it difficult. At first, James went with me to fertility treatments, but over time, he started coming up with excuses not to participate. Eventually, I was the only one putting effort into the treatments. One day, I heard from my mom that my much younger sister, Sarah, who's 22, had given birth to a baby boy out of wedlock. Apparently, the father was her ex-boyfriend from college, but she hasn't been able to contact him since they broke up.
I can't believe Sarah. What was she thinking?
My mom sighed, but I could tell she was happy to have her first grandchild.
Men have it so easy, don't they? They can just leave after getting someone pregnant. Now I have to raise this baby all by myself. It's so hard.
I couldn't say it to Sarah as she vented, but deep down I felt envious. Why can't I get pregnant after all this time, but Sarah, who isn't even married, can? The more I watched Sarah joyfully taking care of her baby boy, the stronger that feeling became. About 2 weeks after my nephew was born, I came home from the OB/GYN, feeling heavy-hearted, to find my husband, James, standing at the door with Sarah holding my nephew. "What's going on?" As I spoke, James began to apologize. Next to him, Sarah, still holding the baby, desperately joined in.
Emily, I'm sorry. The truth is, I've been having an affair with Sarah all along.
What?
I'm the father of this baby. I've decided to prioritize this family. I can't abandon Sarah and my child. As a man, I have to take responsibility. Please, I'm begging you. Let's get divorced.
I'm so sorry, Emily. Please forgive me. For the sake of this baby, please let James go.
Sure, that's fine. When I nodded so calmly, both of them looked stunned. Hang on a moment. I'll grab the divorce papers I already prepared. I went to my room and came back with the papers. My name's already signed, so all you have to do is add yours, James.
Okay.
James, though clearly bewildered, signed the divorce papers. Thanks. I'll take these to the courthouse myself. I'll start packing now.
You're taking this awfully well.
James said, looking both confused and relieved. He must have expected me to cry or lose my temper. I answered with a smile. Well, of course. I'm just glad you're not the dad.
What?
What?
James and Sarah both looked confused. I pointed to my nephew, who was sleeping in Sarah's arms. Are you sure that baby is actually yours? Sarah told me he's the child of her ex-boyfriend from college.
Well, that's...
She must have lied because she couldn't tell you the truth. Isn't that right, Sarah? I believe in you.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't really matter to me. What makes me happiest is knowing that you're not the father of this baby. As I spoke, I rubbed my stomach.
What are you saying? Wait, don't tell me.
That's right. My period's late, and I took a test. It came back positive. When I went to the OB/GYN, they confirmed I'm pregnant. After all those years of fertility treatments, it finally worked.
No way. But how can you get divorced in this situation?
It's fine. Actually, I think it's better this way. It's a relief knowing this baby won't have a bad influence like you as a father. And don't worry about child support. I'm not expecting anything from you. Honestly, I don't want you involved at all.
Don't act so tough. Deep down, you're just upset that your successful, high-earning husband was taken by your little sister.
Hey, Sarah.
James hurriedly tried to stop her, but Sarah kept provoking me. Just moments ago, she was acting all remorseful. She must be frustrated that I wasn't reacting with jealousy or despair like she expected.
You know, Emily, you were always so controlling with James and strict about money. Poor James. You were such a tyrant wife. That's why he cheated on you. From now on, you'll live a miserable life as a broke single mom. It's all your fault. This is the punishment for not treating James right. Serves you right.
I sighed. Sarah has always had a bad habit of saying things without thinking whenever she gets angry, only making situations worse. Well, if you're okay with a gambling-addicted husband drowning in debt, you're welcome to him.
What are you talking about?
I handed them the debt collection notices addressed to James. His face turned pale. The truth is, James has been hooked on gambling for a while now.
Gambling? No way. James, of all people?
Yes, gambling. It started when a coworker invited him to try it. I guess all those years of being the responsible guy caught up to him. He promised over and over to quit, but never did. At one point, I thought he had stopped, but it turns out he picked it up again. I tried managing the finances, tracking his location with GPS to keep him away from casinos, and I thought he was finally done. But instead, he started spending tons of money on mobile games. That led to even more debt. James looked down, avoiding eye contact.
So that's why you were keeping such a tight leash on him.
That's right. I even suggested he see a therapist to treat his gambling addiction, but James, being too proud and worried about his image, refused to go. Said it was too embarrassing.
All he ever did was complain about you, Emily.
Of course, he did. He wouldn't want anyone to know about his gambling habit. Not someone with his perfect guy reputation. When I found out I was finally pregnant today, I couldn't even feel happy. All I could think was how much trouble I'd be in with someone like him as the father. That's why I came home feeling so weighed down. But then you came along and took him off my hands. Thank you for that. James is all yours now. Oh, and I'll be filing for alimony from both of you.
What? But we have a baby. And you're asking for alimony knowing James has debt.
Of course. I have a baby on the way too, you know. If I'm going to be the broke single mom you mentioned, I need to secure whatever I can for my child. Consider yourself lucky I'm waiving child support. You should be grateful. Oh, and make sure you handle James's debts yourself. With that, I packed my things and left, with James and Sarah standing there in stunned silence, watching me go. I immediately went back to my parents' house and told them everything that had happened. My parents were furious and called Sarah right away, declaring they were cutting ties with her. They also said they would no longer help take care of her baby.
We spoiled her too much because she was our youngest child and so much younger than the rest of you.
My dad lamented. In a way, I might share some responsibility for that. Later, I heard that James's parents were also furious with him and cut ties. Both of them ended up being disowned by their families.
I swear, I'll quit gambling and stop spending money on mobile games. I'll make sure Sarah and our precious son don't suffer.
Having no one else to rely on and lacking the courage to raise her child as a single mother, Sarah believed James' words and eventually married him. When I heard about it, I sighed inwardly. I'll quit gambling for sure. How many times have I believed those words, only to be let down? I was certain James wouldn't stop gambling or wasting money on games. And just as I expected, James didn't quit either habit. Taking advantage of the fact that Sarah didn't manage the finances like I had, he started spending even more money on gambling.
You said when we were dating that, unlike Emily, You'd let me use my money freely, you liar.
Whenever Sarah tried to take control of the finances, James would hypocritically lash out at her. Eventually, he got caught using company funds to gamble while claiming to be out on sales calls. He was fired, forced to pay back the embezzled money, and left jobless. Sarah, still recovering from giving birth, had no choice but to start working part-time jobs. No matter how many shifts she picked up or how long she worked from morning to night, she couldn't save any money. James would waste every cent she earned on gambling and mobile games as soon as she brought it home. Whenever Sarah gets angry, James promises to quit gambling and stop playing mobile games, but he always goes right back to it before long. What's worse, according to Sarah, he's even trying to teach their son how to gamble.
Can you believe it? James actually bought our son a toy slot machine with the money he won gambling one day.
A toy slot machine? I looked it up on my phone, and sure enough, those actually exist.
James watched our son playing with it and said, "He's got talent," laughing the whole time. What am I supposed to do? If this keeps up, our son's going to end up just like him, a gambling addict.
Well, they do say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
But they're not actually related by blood. Maybe it's more about the environment than genetics?
Wait, what do you mean they're not related? Don't tell me.
Actually, like you said back then, my son isn't James's. He's probably my ex's kid.
What? Apparently, Sarah had been dating both James and her ex at the same time. When she got pregnant, she didn't know whose baby it was.
But I broke up with my ex and lost contact with him, so I decided to say the baby was James's. He worked at a big company and seemed like a great catch. But now my son is starting to look more and more like my ex.
What is wrong with you? You seriously tricked James into raising another man's child? I was completely exasperated.
It wasn't on purpose. But what do I do now? We can't save any money for my son, and it's ruining his education. I want a divorce, but every time I bring it up, James says, "I'll quit gambling and mobile games, and I'll work hard for our son," and he refuses to leave. But he breaks that promise every time. Should I just tell him the truth? That my son isn't his? Do you think that would make him agree to a divorce?
I don't know. Why are you asking me this?
Emily, you're so cold. I'm really in trouble here. Unlike you, I have no one to rely on since Mom and Dad cut ties with me.
Have you forgotten what you did to me? Sure, it worked out for me in the end, but you had an affair with my husband and stole him from me. I don't owe you anything. You should be grateful I'm even listening to you. Do whatever you want. With that, I hung up the phone. Later, Sarah confronted James after he came home from gambling and told him she wanted a divorce.
I don't want a divorce. This time, I swear I'll quit gambling and stop playing mobile games. Please believe me.
Believe you? Do you have any idea how many times I've believed that and been let down? I'm done. All you want is to keep relying on my part-time earnings, don't you? You pretend to go to job interviews, but then you just head straight to the casino. Emily was right. Someone like you is a terrible influence on my child.
Please, don't do this. I'll change, I promise. I don't want to lose my son.
Well, here's the thing. He's not your son.
What? No way. That's not true.
It is. He's actually my ex-boyfriend's child, not yours. There's no blood connection between you two. So now will you agree to a divorce?
James stood there in shock for a while before finally saying something unexpected.
That doesn't matter. Even if we're not related by blood, He's still my son. Please, don't divorce me.
In the end, once again, Sarah couldn't get the divorce. I heard about this again from Sarah over the phone. That's touching. Even after finding out there's no blood connection, James still loves your child. Very heartwarming. When I gave a disinterested reply, Sarah yelled at me.
It's not like that. That man just wants to keep leeching off my part-time income. His brain is only filled with thoughts of gambling, mobile games, and how to get more money for them. He doesn't care about blood relations at all.
Yeah, maybe. I answered indifferently.
And you know what he said when I insisted on a divorce?
Apparently, James threatened her.
Did you know that the guilty party in a marriage can't file for divorce? If you try to leave me, I'll tell your work and all our neighbors about your affair and how you tricked me into raising another man's child. You won't make any mom friends, and your kid might get bullied too. You wouldn't want that, would you?
At that point, Sarah regretted making a misstep. Her tendency to speak impulsively out of emotion and worsen situations had worked against her once again. Since finding out the child wasn't biologically his, James had lost what little motivation he had to overcome his gambling and mobile game addictions. Instead, he doubled down on both habits while using Sarah's secret as leverage.
Hey, Emily. I think I'll give James back to you.
What?
Come on, it's only fair. Your child is actually James's biological kid. Families should stay together, right? I'm sure James would prefer being with his real child. So, can't you take him back? I'm really sorry for stealing him in the first place.
I was stunned. Sarah, after taking James from me, was now trying to dump him back into my lap. I'll have to decline. My child isn't James's either.
What? Don't tell me you cheated, too, Emily.
Of course not. What I mean is that while she's James' child biologically, she has nothing to do with James anymore. To me, James is a stranger. He's all yours now. Good luck with your family.
Emily, how can you be so cold? Don't you care if my son, your nephew, has to suffer? Don't you feel sorry for them?
Of course I feel sorry for them. He's my blood-related nephew, and kids don't get to choose their parents. But in the end, my own child comes first. I don't have the luxury of worrying about someone else's problems.
Someone else's.
What? Did I say something wrong? You and James are strangers to me now, and the child you had is no different. Anyway, I'm busy as a single mom. I don't have time to deal with your issues.
Wait. At least lend me some money. I'm so broke because of James. I can't reach mom and dad, and you're the only one I can turn to.
I ignored Sarah's pleas and hung up the phone. A little while later, James called me.
Hey, Emily. It's been a while.
It has. What do you want?
Well, I heard you had the baby. A girl, right?
Yes, a healthy baby girl. She looks just like you around the eyes.
Really? A girl. That's nice. I always kind of wanted a daughter.
After mumbling to himself for a bit, he spoke with determination.
Could I see her?
Why?
What do you mean, why? It's natural to want to meet your own child.
But you already have a sweet son with Sarah.
Well, about that.
I know. Sarah told me everything. She said she confessed the child isn't biologically yours, and you still begged her not to divorce you. It's so touching. You love the child that much, even without a biological connection.
It's not that I don't care about him, but
Of course, he couldn't admit that he was staying with Sarah just to rely on her part-time income.
But having a biological connection is different. Seeing a child that looks like me would mean so much. You get that, right?
Can you pay child support then?
Well,
You can't, can you? Any money you have would go to gambling or mobile games. And besides, I don't want my child influenced by a useless father addicted to those things.
that's not fair. But it must be tough raising a child as a single mom. Why don't we get back together? I could help take care of the baby.
What?
Come on. I could be there for you and the baby.
No thanks. My parents, who live with me, are already helping with child care. That allows me to work full-time and provide for us. I'm so glad I never quit my job after getting married. I don't have to worry about money.
But wouldn't it be better for the child to have a father?
A child is better off without a father like you. I've heard all about how much hardship you've caused Sarah. If you're going to ask me to get back together with you, shouldn't you at least divorce Sarah first? Are you trying to keep Sarah as a backup in case I turn you down? Isn't that a bit unfair?
Well, that's not.
Let's be real. You're not asking to get back together because you want to see the child. You're just after my full-time salary, thinking I make more money than Sarah does with her part-time jobs, aren't you?
That's not true.
Well, either way, I'm not getting back together with you, and you're not meeting my child. But don't worry. I let your parents see her regularly. I truly appreciated his parents. They gave me a significant amount of money in place of James's child support. On top of that, they've been very loving and affectionate toward my daughter. Well then, forget about us and focus on getting along with your current family. And don't make things harder for Sarah and the others, okay?
Wait, please. Can you at least lend me some money?
What?
We really don't have any money. I tried reaching out to my parents, but they've cut ties with me, so that's not an option. I've got no one else to turn to but you.
I sighed. Sarah said the exact same thing. These two are truly a perfect match. You know, the fact that you don't have enough money is entirely your fault. What good is borrowing more money going to do? You'll just blow it all on gambling and mobile games anyway.
That's not true. It's to pay off debts. If I don't pay them, things will get really bad. I need this to turn my life around. I promise I'll pay you back. Please, I'm begging you.
You already used your one last favor card when you asked for a divorce.
That doesn't count. You happily agreed to the divorce back then.
There's no such thing as a deal like that. Either way, my answer is no. I don't trust you to pay it back. Now I'm hanging up. My daughter is crying. With that, I ended the call. Afterward, James came up with a new idea to make Sarah earn more money. His plan? To have Sarah work at a nightclub.
You're young. You can earn a ton of money. We can pay off the debts, cover living expenses, and maybe even have enough left over for me to gamble and spend on mobile games.
As he scrolled through social media posts of women flaunting their lavish lifestyles from similar jobs, James let his imagination run wild. Sarah, on the other hand, was distraught. Naturally, she tearfully refused, but James wouldn't listen.
No way. Why would I do something like that?
It's easy money. So what's the problem? Why are you acting all high and mighty? You're the one who cheated on your ex, stole your sister's husband, and tricked me into raising another man's child. This is the perfect job for someone like you. Be grateful. Or would you rather I tell everyone about your affair and the baby switch? Think about how that would affect you and your son.
James's eyes were bloodshot as he yelled at her. It was clear that all he could think about was forcing Sarah to work at the nightclub. Thinking she couldn't stay any longer, Sarah packed the bare essentials in the middle of the night, left a signed divorce paper on the table, and fled with her son in her arms.
Please. Let me stay. Hide me. I'm begging you. I'm so sorry.
Sarah clung to me and our parents, pleading for help. Of course, neither I nor my parents had any intention of taking her in. We didn't hold a grudge against her for betraying me and stealing James. If anything, we felt sorry for her. But the thought of James tracking her down and finding his way to our home made it impossible for us to shelter her.
You're so unfair, Emily. You dumped that debt-ridden man on me, and now you're the one living comfortably with mom and dad helping you take care of your child. If you forgave me and convinced them, mom and dad would forgive me too. Why won't you do it, you useless sister? How much more do you want to make your little sister suffer, you idiot?
Her completely unrepentant outburst enraged my parents, and they threw her out. Once again, Sarah's impulsive and thoughtless words had made things worse for her. After that, no matter how much she apologized, we ignored her. She spent some time outside the house apologizing over and over before disappearing with her son. I don't know where she is or what she's doing now. Rumors say she somehow tracked down her son's biological father, her ex-boyfriend, but he had already moved on with someone else, leading to a dramatic confrontation. Apparently, she managed to force him to marry her, but his ex-girlfriend is still hung up on him and resents Sarah for breaking them up. The relationship has reportedly devolved into a hollow marriage, with the ex constantly bringing up Sarah's previous marriage and saying things like, "You were married to another man, weren't you? I know you cheated too." Whether this is true or not, I can't say. Regardless, I hope Sarah can manage to make it work for her son's sake. Even my parents, though estranged from her, still worry about their grandson. As for James, he searched everywhere for Sarah and her son, but ultimately couldn't find them. He even called me to ask about their whereabouts, but I firmly denied knowing anything. In truth, I genuinely don't know where they are now. James was forced to sell his house to pay off his debts and moved into a rundown apartment. However, he quickly fell behind on rent there as well, couldn't repay his debts, and eventually declared bankruptcy. Now, he's been evicted from the apartment and is living on the streets. At this point, even if former acquaintances passed by him, they likely wouldn't recognize him anymore. And yet, he still hasn't given up gambling. James was once a hardworking, high-earning man at a major company, but his life was completely ruined by gambling. Now, he's homeless. Life is truly unpredictable. If he had avoided gambling and infidelity and lived responsibly, he could have been a happy father by now. As for me, I'm currently dating someone I met at work. He adores my daughter, and she has grown very attached to him. My parents are also very fond of him. Thinking about James's downfall, despite his once promising future, makes me hesitant about remarrying. However, this man shared that his own mother was once addicted to gambling, which caused a lot of hardship for his family. Because of that, he vowed never to touch gambling in any form. If I can truly trust his words and believe in a future together, I think remarrying might not be such a bad idea.